In the vast open landscapes where the earth feels wide and the sky seems endless, one animal moves with a rhythm unlike any other. It does not walk the way most animals walk, and it does not carry itself with the heavy confidence of a predator or the quiet caution of a small forest creature. Instead, it crosses the land with a motion that looks almost impossible at first, powerful and graceful at the same time, as if the body itself has learned to turn movement into a form of poetry. This is the kangaroo, one of the most remarkable animals in the natural world. To see a kangaroo in the wild is to see adaptation in motion. It is to witness an animal perfectly shaped by its environment, an animal that has learned how to survive in open country, in dry grasslands, in scattered woodland, and in places where the land can feel harsh and unforgiving. Yet the kangaroo does not merely survive there. It belongs there. Its body, its behavior, its social life, and even its emotions are all tied to the rhythm of the landscape around it. At first glance, kangaroos may seem simple. They are familiar, iconic, and instantly recognizable. But the more closely you watch them, the more complex they become. They are animals of family, movement, alertness, and quiet intelligence. They live with a strong sense of community. They care for their young with extraordinary dedication. They adapt to color, climate, and distance in ways that reveal just how finely nature has shaped them. And among them, there are young kangaroos learning the first lessons of life, social groups moving together across the land, rare pale individuals that seem almost unreal in the sunlight, red kangaroos built for the open country, and gray kangaroos whose colors shift beautifully across the landscape. Every one of them tells part of the same story. For a young kangaroo, the world begins in closeness. Before it becomes strong enough to move freely across the land, it stays near its mother, protected by her presence and carried through the earliest stage of life in a way that is both fragile and extraordinary. Even when it is still small, the young kangaroo already carries the shape of its future. Tiny limbs, soft features, alert eyes, and an instinctive bond with its mother all reveal that this is an animal already built for movement, even if that movement begins in dependence. The pouch is one of nature's most remarkable adaptations, and for the young kangaroo it is a place of safety, warmth, and growth. Inside it, the world is reduced to motion, heartbeat, and shelter. Outside, the landscape may be open and exposed, but inside the pouch, everything is close and protected. This early connection between mother and young is more than physical. It is emotional in a way that is deeply visible. The mother's presence is constant, her attention always near, her body becoming a living refuge in the midst of a challenging environment. As the young kangaroo grows, it begins to spend more time outside the pouch, exploring the world in short, careful moments. It stands close beside its mother, mirrors her movements, and learns from her quiet confidence. Every small hop, every pause, every moment of looking outward becomes part of a larger education. The young kangaroo is not just growing in size. It is learning the language of the wild. This is one of the most touching aspects of kangaroo life. The bond between mother and young is not dramatic, but it is powerful. It is built through presence, through safety, through repeated moments of closeness in a world that can be harsh and unpredictable. The young kangaroo learns that survival is not only about strength. It is also about trust, patience, and the steady reassurance of family. In these moments, the kangaroo family becomes one of nature's clearest examples of protection and dependence. The young animal is not yet independent, but it is already learning the great rhythms of kangaroo life. It learns to stay aware. It learns to respond quickly. It learns that the world is full of movement, and that the safest place may often be close to the one who guides it. And slowly, almost invisibly, the young kangaroo begins its transformation. What begins in the shelter of the pouch will one day become a life spent in open motion across the land. Kangaroos are often seen as solitary creatures at first glance, but their lives are deeply social in ways that reveal a great deal about how they survive. They gather, they watch one another, they move through shared spaces, and they form loose but meaningful communities in the open landscape. Their groups are not rigid in the way human societies are rigid, and yet they are far from random. There is structure here, even if it is subtle. There is awareness. There is mutual observation. There is a constant exchange of signals, distances, and movements. In the wild, a group of kangaroos creates a sense of balance. Some stand still while others feed. Some keep watch while others rest. Some move away, and then return later. Their social world is flexible, but it is not empty. These animals understand one another through posture, movement, attention, and behavior. A shift in body position can mean tension. A sudden movement can change the mood of the group. A moment of calm can spread through the group like a quiet agreement. There is something especially interesting about how kangaroos share space. They do not crowd each other unnecessarily. They seem to understand distance in a way that allows the group to function smoothly. Each animal maintains a kind of personal space, while still remaining part of the larger social picture. It is a beautiful balance between independence and connection. This social life also gives kangaroos an advantage in the wild. More eyes mean more awareness. More awareness means more safety. When one kangaroo becomes alert, others often respond. The group becomes a shared field of attention, scanning the land for signs of movement, disturbance, or change. In open country, where danger can come from far away, this kind of cooperation matters. But kangaroo social behavior is not only about caution. It is also about rhythm. It is about the quiet comfort of being near others of the same kind. It is about shared feeding grounds, shared resting places, and shared movement across the landscape. A group of kangaroos moving together across a field can feel almost ceremonial, as though the land itself is part of their design. They are not animals of constant noise, and that is part of what makes their social world so fascinating. Their communication is subtle. A glance, a shift, a change in posture, the movement of ears, the position of the tail, the angle of the body, these are all part of a vocabulary that does not require sound to be powerful. They speak with movement. They speak with stillness. They speak with awareness. And within this social world, there is also an emotional dimension that should not be overlooked. Kangaroos are attentive to one another. Mothers are especially responsive to their young. Group members remain alert to the mood and movement of those nearby. In the wild, these small signals matter. They help maintain stability in a world that is always changing. To watch kangaroos in a group is to understand that survival is not always a solitary act. Sometimes, it is shared. Sometimes, it is shaped by the presence of others. And sometimes, the strength of an animal is revealed not in separation, but in belonging.
We're grateful you took the time to watch this video on the Nature and Science channel. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting and educational videos. Sharing this with your friends and family would mean a lot to us, helping to spread the knowledge further. Also, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you and learn how we can keep improving. Thank you for your continued support.
Among the more unusual sights in the kangaroo world are the rare white individuals, including those that appear albino or nearly albino. These animals stand out immediately, not because they are larger or stronger, but because their appearance is so strikingly different from the more familiar shades of red, brown, gray, and tan. In the wild, where blending into the environment is often essential, such coloration can make them unforgettable to the eye. A pale kangaroo moving through grassland or open woodland seems almost otherworldly. The light color catches the sun differently, creating a visual contrast against the earth around it. It is a reminder that nature does not follow a single pattern. Even within one species, variation can be remarkable. These rare individuals show how genetic difference can appear in ways that make an animal seem almost like a living exception. Their unusual appearance does not change the basic truth of who they are. They are still kangaroos, still moving through the same landscapes, still relying on the same instincts, still living the same essential life of awareness and adaptation. But visually, they create a special kind of fascination. They draw the viewer in. They slow the eye. They add an unexpected layer of wonder to the documentary. A white or albino kangaroo can feel like a glimpse of something rare and fleeting, something that reminds us just how varied the natural world can be. Even among familiar animals, there are always surprises. Nature is never fully predictable. The red kangaroo is one of the most iconic animals of the open wild, and for good reason. It is built for wide spaces, for distance, for heat, and for movement across terrain that can seem endless beneath the sky. Strong, lean, and beautifully adapted, the red kangaroo is a symbol of the open landscape itself. Its color often gives it a warm, earthy presence, especially in the light of the sun. In some conditions, the red tone is vivid and unmistakable. In others, it blends into the dry grass and red soil of the land so naturally that the animal seems almost made from the country it inhabits. This is not only beautiful to see, it is deeply functional. The color helps the animal become part of the environment rather than separate from it. Red kangaroos are powerful travelers. Their long legs, muscular build, and balanced posture make them extraordinary movers over open ground. They are especially well suited to places where long distances must be crossed and where efficient movement matters. Their bodies have evolved with remarkable precision for life in broad, open spaces. Every part of them seems shaped for endurance and speed. But there is more to the red kangaroo than strength alone. It is an animal of alertness and resilience. In the heat of the day, it knows when to conserve energy. In the cooler hours, it becomes more active. It responds to conditions with a kind of practical wisdom that reflects just how intimately it is tied to its environment. The red kangaroo also carries the dignity of an animal that belongs fully to its habitat. There is nothing accidental about its appearance or its movement. It seems to have been built by the landscape itself. In the wide, open wild, the red kangaroo is not just surviving. It is thriving in a way that feels almost elemental. If the red kangaroo carries the warmth of the open country, the gray kangaroo brings a different kind of beauty to the landscape. There are darker gray individuals, lighter gray individuals, and even those that appear almost black in certain light. This range of tones gives gray kangaroos a remarkable visual presence, especially when they move through areas of grass, scrub, and woodland. The color of a gray kangaroo often helps it blend into the natural world around it. In shaded spaces, the darker individuals can seem almost shadow-like. In brighter light, the lighter ones reveal soft silver, dusty gray, or warm muted tones that change with the angle of the sun. This variation makes them especially interesting to observe because no two moments of light seem exactly the same. Gray kangaroos are often associated with cooler tones and more wooded environments than the red kangaroo, though they remain strongly tied to open space and the edge of habitat. Their appearance suggests adaptability. Their presence suggests quiet endurance. They are not flashy animals, but they are deeply compelling in their own way. There is a calm strength in the way gray kangaroos move and rest. They seem closely attuned to the land around them. Their bodies are balanced, their attention alert, and their behavior marked by a kind of grounded awareness. They do not demand attention. They earn it through presence. The different shades of gray, from pale to deep, even nearly black in some individuals, add depth to the visual story of the species. They show that kangaroos are not one color, not one form, not one fixed expression of nature. Instead, they exist within a beautiful spectrum that reflects the richness of the wild. One of the most unforgettable things about kangaroos is the way they move. Their movement is unlike that of almost any other large animal. They do not simply run in the familiar sense. They bounce through the landscape with powerful, coordinated leaps that cover distance efficiently and with astonishing grace. What looks unusual to us is, for the kangaroo, a perfect expression of design. The hind legs carry most of the power. The tail helps with balance, support, and control. The entire body works together in a rhythm that turns movement into a specialized form of travel. Kangaroos are able to move quickly and efficiently across open land, where every step matters and long distances can be crossed with surprising ease. This kind of motion is not just impressive to watch. It is one of the defining features of kangaroo life. It helps them escape danger. It helps them travel. It helps them connect different parts of their habitat. In many ways, the kangaroo's movement is inseparable from its identity. When a kangaroo bounds forward, the motion can seem almost effortless, but that effortlessness is the result of remarkable adaptation. The body has become a tool for the open world. It turns distance into rhythm and speed into survival. Kangaroos are most often remembered for their powerful bodies and extraordinary movement, but there is much more to them than what can be seen at a glance. Beneath the familiar shape of the long tail, strong hind legs, and upright posture is an animal that has been shaped by discipline, adaptability, and a deep relationship with the land. Kangaroos are not animals that live apart from their environment. They are part of its rhythm. They feed with the day, rest with the heat, move with the light, and respond to the changing conditions of the open country with a kind of quiet intelligence that is easy to overlook and difficult to forget once you notice it. Much of kangaroo life is guided by the search for balance. Their bodies are built to conserve energy, and that principle touches nearly every part of their behavior. They spend long periods resting, conserving strength, and choosing movement carefully. In the heat of the day, when the landscape can feel harsh and dry, they are often less active, using the cooler hours to move, feed, and interact. This rhythm is not random. It is a survival strategy that allows them to live successfully in habitats where resources can be spread out and conditions can shift quickly. A kangaroo does not waste energy carelessly. It behaves with the wisdom of an animal that understands the value of patience. Their habitat plays a major role in shaping that behavior. Kangaroos are most at home in open and semi-open environments, where they can move freely across grasslands, scrubland, woodland edges, and broad stretches of natural country. These places offer both visibility and challenge. The openness helps kangaroos detect danger from a distance, but it also means they must remain alert, because there is little to hide behind. In this kind of landscape, awareness becomes a way of life. A kangaroo must be able to read the space around it almost constantly, watching for changes in movement, sound, and distance. Yet the habitat of kangaroos is not simply a backdrop. It is a living system that shapes everything they do. The grasses they feed on, the shade they seek, the open ground they cross, and the shelter they use at different times of day all become part of a larger environmental pattern. Kangaroos are deeply connected to these landscapes, and in return, they help define them. Their presence is one of the many signs that the ecosystem is functioning as a whole, with animals, plants, climate, and terrain all linked together in one living network.
Thank you for tuning in to the Nature and Science YouTube channel. We hope you enjoyed the content. Please don't forget to hit the like button if you found this video helpful and subscribe to stay updated with more fascinating videos. We'd also love it if you could share this video with your friends and family. Your support means the world to us. Feel free to leave a comment below. Your feedback helps us improve and grow. Thanks again for watching and supporting our channel.
One of the most interesting things about kangaroos is how much they reveal through behavior rather than sound. They are not animals that depend on loud calls or dramatic displays to communicate. Much of what they express is visible in posture, movement, and attention. The position of the body, the shift of the tail, the angle of the head, and the alert movement of the ears all carry meaning. A kangaroo that freezes suddenly may be reacting to a subtle change in the environment. A kangaroo that turns its body toward another may be signaling awareness. Even in stillness, there is communication happening. This makes kangaroos feel especially alive to the viewer, because their world is one of constant reading and response. They are not passive animals simply waiting for something to happen. They are engaged with the world around them in every moment. That engagement is part of what gives them such a compelling presence. A kangaroo can appear calm on the surface while remaining intensely alert underneath, and that combination of calm and readiness is one of the defining qualities of the species. Their emotional life, while not something we can measure in human terms, is still visible in meaningful ways. A mother's care for her young shows tenderness and attention. A young kangaroo staying close to its mother shows trust and dependence. A group resting peacefully together shows a kind of shared comfort. Even caution itself can be seen as an emotional response, a sign that these animals are sensitive to the world they inhabit. Kangaroos are not machines of instinct alone. They are living beings with behaviors that reflect caution, comfort, bonding, and awareness. Their emotional expressions are subtle, but they are real in the way nature often is: quiet, practical, and deeply tied to survival. Another remarkable element of kangaroo life is how they manage their environment through their diet and daily habits. Kangaroos are herbivores, and their feeding behavior is closely tied to the availability of grasses and other plant material in their habitat. This creates a strong connection between the animal and the seasonal condition of the land. When the environment is healthy and resources are available, kangaroos can thrive. When conditions become harder, they adjust their behavior in order to conserve energy and make the best use of what the landscape provides. In this way, they are not only shaped by nature, but constantly negotiating with it. Their role in the ecosystem is also worth noticing. As grazers, kangaroos participate in the movement of energy through the environment. They feed on plant life and remain part of the balance that shapes open habitats. In natural systems, every species contributes to the larger story of the land, and kangaroos are no exception. They are not simply living in the environment. They are part of the process that keeps it active and changing. It is also worth remembering how beautifully adapted their bodies are to the demands of their world. Their powerful tails are not only useful for balance during movement, but also support them in moments of rest and upright posture. Their strong legs and light, efficient build allow them to move through open spaces with remarkable effectiveness. Their ears rotate and lift with attention, constantly gathering information from the world around them. Even their resting posture speaks to adaptation. Every part of the kangaroo's body reflects a long history of survival in a landscape where efficiency matters. There is something deeply moving about watching kangaroos in quiet moments. A mother with her joey beside her. A group standing in open light. A solitary animal gazing across the land. These scenes do not need drama to be powerful. Their power comes from simplicity, from the feeling that what we are seeing is both ancient and immediate. Kangaroos have the rare ability to make the landscape feel larger, more alive, and more connected to the viewer's imagination. They remind us that wilderness is not only about danger or spectacle. It is also about rhythm, presence, and the continuity of life. As the documentary comes to a close, the kangaroo remains what it has always been, a creature of movement, resilience, and connection. From the smallest young tucked safely near its mother, to the social groups that move across open country, to the rare pale individuals, the red kangaroos, and the gray kangaroos in all their shades, every part of this species reveals something important about the natural world. Kangaroos show us that survival can be graceful. They show us that strength can be quiet. They show us that the relationship between an animal and its environment can be so complete that the two seem to belong to one another. And perhaps that is the final lesson of the kangaroo. It is not only a symbol of the wild. It is a reminder of how life adapts, endures, and finds its own perfect rhythm in the places it calls home. Thank you for watching Nature and Science. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of kangaroos, please like the video and subscribe for more stories from nature, wildlife, and the extraordinary lives of animals.
Got a fine little body and her mind's kinda naughty. They say that once you taste it, you cannot replace it. She could get you high, all the dopamine inside triggers fast once she's naked. Her body's a creation. They say the devil made her for his entertainment, but even